horror. Usually Donna does all this, so I'm sure I'm going to slaughter it. But today we're continuing the Texas Author Con 24 interview series, and we have Andrew Alonso with us, also known as Guy McMonsterface. How you doing?
McMonstermaker, but
Miss Monster
McMonster
Maker.
face
I
works
always call
too.
you McMonsterface when I'm talking
It's
like to
okay.
my
I've
wife and
I've
stuff.
had people call me Guy McMonster, Guy, the Creature Emporium. It's easy to butcher the thing, so
Yeah.
you're not the first one.
Well, like I said, Donna normally does this. I never stick the
No
landing. There's got
problem.
to be at least one or two,
No
screw ups.
problem. It's good
So
to see you, man.
yeah, we just saw each other at Frightmare, which was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, we were on the same aisle, so it was really cool to see everybody in your booth checking out all the stuff. Later, we're gonna do some run bys, some of the pictures you sent me of the different things you've sculpted, and they're all amazing.
Thank you.
And then last year, we did this. So we had the interview. So you're on the second interview, so we've got new questions. So we'll
Heck
start
yeah.
off. First one is what's your favorite Universal monster?
Oh man, my favorite, my personal favorite Universal monster is probably going to be oh, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I'd have to say.
That's a good
I
one.
think a lot of people that I encounter usually the first one they go to is like either Frankenstein or Dracula, but
Hmm.
I love the Creature from the Black Lagoon personally. It's something about all of them, especially for the time. They required so much work. A lot of like R&D and into territory that they weren't really like accustomed to doing, like all the makeups and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
that one, I feel like they really pushed it in terms of just bringing out the monstrosity. I don't know. Yeah,
Not only
I
that, I
love
mean,
it.
how difficult is it? They film the whole thing underwater, right? So this creature's got to
Right.
be able to functional underwater, look
Oh yeah.
impressive underwater, and also be able to handle any of the land shots. And
Uh-huh.
and the whole time you're in this giant suit.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think it's amazing. I think it's a great creature. It's not one of the ones that I normally jump at, initially. Although I'm with you. Everybody says Dracula and Frankenstein, and I kind of
Yeah.
find them boring. My favorite's always going to be the Mummy or the Wolf Man, Phantom of the Opera, stuff like that. Those are the characters I really enjoyed.
Definitely.
I'm
I
not
would
even
say
sure if Phantom
Phantom.
falls under. Does Phantom fall under?
I think it does. Yeah, I mean it is one of the Universal monsters.
Yeah, there it is. I'm
Um
looking at my box set. So yeah, Invisible
yeah.
Man. Invisible
Oh
Man's
yeah.
amazing, the special effects and stuff. But you're right. If you
Yeah.
get the Blu-rays, or even watch it just in HD,
Mhm.
streaming or whatever, when you watch Creature from Black Lagoon, it's one of the most. It's just a beautiful movie. It's
Oh yeah.
so striking, that black and white, the way they shot it, the
Mhm.
cinematography, everything about it. It's one of the most beautiful movies I think ever when you really sit
Yeah,
back to it.
I
Now,
agree.
and I,
Especially, yeah, the story was good,
mhm.
the effects were good, the cinematography was good. I mean, I remember being a kid and watching that, in the same breath as like Alien or Jaws or Aliens. Like it was one of those go-to movies for like, when you're a
Mhm.
well, I mean, maybe not every kid. Nowadays, parents don't seem to let their kids watch the stuff that we probably did growing up, but
Yeah, but it's weird. They watch weirder and more obscene and hardcore things. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I know when these Universal came out, of course they're cutting edge at the time and they are
Oh
scary
yeah.
and all that stuff. But when we were kids, they're very PG friendly. It's the kind of
Yes.
horror I think you should be introducing your kids to.
Right.
Check this
Yeah.
out, and then we're going to go to the next level. But
Oh, I more meant like the Alien and Jaws and
oh yeah,
like
no, those our age, yeah. No, these kids
I
see everything. It doesn't kids the problem with kids today is they don't have the attention span to handle a movie. So they see everything in
no, they don't.
clips and little bites. And
No,
so
absolutely.
that's
I
the thing I
agree.
don't like. So
And then they end up not appreciating the classics
sure.
because they aren't moving at the pace that they're used to with I'm not even going to get into that whole thing because I have very strong opinions about animation today. So
Oh yeah,
I,
animation today is all computer controlled. It's too slick. Give
well,
me
not
some
only that,
rotoscope, you
the
know.
story
Oh
is
yeah, the
very.
stories too. They're very
It's like you can't. I my nephew, he has. I'll just really quick because I don't want to get off the topic because I find that much more interesting than this. But as a side note to the attention span thing, like there's this show that my nephew used to watch called something Gumball, and
oh yeah.
I couldn't sit through a single episode because it was so frenetic and just bizarre and made no sense. And that's like a whole genre now, I think. It's just
Yeah.
animation and stories that are absolutely wacky, you know? I
Now I
don't know.
will say I'm a big fan of Gumball, and
Yeah,
my kid
I
was
can't
the
do
same
it.
age.
I tried.
But I'm also really big into weird movies and TV shows and stuff like that. So in my
Yeah.
mind, I got what the guy was going for, but I totally understand how it would be annoying to just a normal person trying to watch something like this.
Yeah,
When you
I mean,
compare it to the classics that we watched growing up,
yes.
I totally
Yes.
get that. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
no, I thought you were going to
Definitely.
say something even more recent that's, there's almost no story anymore in a lot of these things. It's just
Oh, yeah, well,
bright,
that was
pretty
honestly like
colors.
the last time I had seen a cartoon aside from another good example is Rick and Morty, but I actually enjoy that one,
Yeah, Rick and
even
Morty's
though it's a
great.
little wacky.
Yeah, tongue in cheek, a lot of it poking fun at our youth, and
Yes.
making fun of what things are today. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I'm a big fan
definitely.
of Rick and Morty, although I'm not caught up. So I definitely haven't seen it
Me
since they
either.
fired the guy, and I haven't seen
Same.
probably a season or two before they fired the guy. But the first
Right.
couple seasons, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
definitely. Same.
I was thinking of like the animated movies that they put out today. You get on Disney Plus, they go to the theater. A lot of them don't seem to have the same
Oh,
power like you would get from like The Lion King or even I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that came out a little later, but that were, like Princess and the Frog. That's probably one of the last actual animated movies I really liked. Because then they started Tangled, getting into the computer animation. Um,
see that my wife is more learned and all that stuff. I am very bad with the cartoons. I do remember Lion King. I'd have seen that. Anything after I think maybe like Lion King animation wise, like I've never seen Pocahontas. I've never seen
Oh, you're
Princess
not
and the
missing
Frog.
anything. Princess and the
Yeah,
Frog
I'm
is
very
amazing.
bad about
I would suggest
that.
watching Princess and the Frog because of the cool voodoo villain, and
Okay.
it's got this amazing. The storyline's really good. It's set in the swamp. You got all these amazing creatures, but the voodoo villain is he's actually scary, and there's
Okay.
ghosts and demons and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little
All
more
right.
hardcore. I remember taking my niece and my son to it. Son was probably, I want to say he was 8, so the niece would have been
Mm.
6 or 7, and
Uh-huh.
or maybe even 5. But they both loved it. But I thought, oh, this it was pretty good. It's one of the ones I would say was the last good, Disney that came out
Animation.
that was animated that style. Since then, it
I
feels
would
like
have to
everything's
say my
computer.
favorite Disney Disney my favorite Disney animated movie villain, uh, Ursula from
Yeah,
The
Little
Little
Mermaid.
Mermaid.
Yeah,
I love that villain. I don't know what it is, but that she is my favorite villain
yeah, because
of
she's
all
really
the cartoon
evil.
ones.
Everything about her is
Yeah,
pure evil.
and just
Um,
the design is just
yeah,
so cool. You know,
yeah, I agree
I don't
totally.
know. What did you
Uh,
think of the movie, the live action
I
movie?
have not seen it. I haven't seen
Hmm.
any of the live action remakes because I don't think they need to be remade. This is
I
just a money
agree.
grab. So,
Well, when if you're married,
well,
that
that's the other problem. Now, I will say I did take the wife to Beauty and the Beast. So but then they started doing all of them. I haven't seen any since then. I didn't see Aladdin, Lion King. I haven't seen Little Mermaid. I won't go
wait a minute,
see.
did they do a live action Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah, it's got Emma
Oh my
Watson.
god! Oh wow!
So,
Shows how
and the
much I
songs are
pay
almost
attention.
exactly the same. It's almost scene for scene. I think there's one new song. So, but
My favorite, Linda Hamilton, and Ron Perlman,
yeah, and the
the
TV show from
show.
the '80s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, no, not a problem at all. No, so like we're talking about Universal Monsters, amazing. I agree with you. I think that's a great. It's hard every time I do these interviews, I could easily just agree with the guest because Universal Monsters, iconic. The movies are amazing. Even though they're older and maybe they don't hold up all the time story wise. Because I don't think Dracula did. We did a thing on Dracula and Frankenstein. Wasn't blown away. Both of them, I think, ended up being close to our favorites because we did like 5 of them. But it just proves that nobody knows what they're doing, since then, more than it does
Right.
that they nailed the shot. So, um, but yeah, no, Creature from the Black Lagoon is probably it's got to be a top 5, if not top 3. So,
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
so then we roll
Follow,
in. Oh, what were you gonna say?
oh, no, I was gonna say followed by probably either, like you said, the Invisible Man or the Wolfman. If we're talking purely technical achievements, I think.
Yeah, both of those are great technically.
Yeah.
Although I do enjoy the story of the Wolf Man more than the Invisible Man, even though I think that movie's still fine. Both of them, and the Mummy too. I mean, I really have a tough time coming, nailing those down. But I like the Wolf Man. I like the love story that they do in it. I even like the remake with what's his name?
Um, um,
Benicio.
Del Toro.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
I
liked it. I know
never
it's not a
saw that.
perfect movie. It's not a perfect movie. The director's cut has got some stuff that makes it a little better at some points, but also takes away from it because it makes references to things that they obviously didn't film. So it doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
But at the
gotcha.
same time, I like the Victorian era of it. I like the look of it. And I think he makes a pretty good Wolfman. He's very, very good as the distraught person that's turning into the wolf. Um, the
Okay, I'm gonna
character,
have to
whatever.
see it
It's
because
definitely, I think it's worth seeing.
I haven't seen many of the Dark Universe films. I know that they were really trying to
Yeah,
weave that, and it hasn't worked out so far, from what I understand.
right. I think
So,
the first one was actually The Mummy with Tom Cruise, and that happened way after the Wolfman. I think they were actually going to redo the Wolfman with somebody
oh,
else.
oh
Um,
boy,
so
okay.
I don't even know if the Wolfman is considered part of the Dark Universe. Now, the best thing about the Dark Universe was in the Mummy movie, Russell Crowe plays Dr. Jekyll. So
Oh,
so then you got this little Easter egg of what might come if they continued. And so I
okay.
did enjoy his character in it, but the problem with the Tom Cruise movie is that it's all about Tom Cruise when it should have been all about the mummy. And so
Naturally.
yeah, so I did not enjoy that movie at all. Saw it opening night, and I don't think I've seen it since. So maybe if I saw it again streaming for free, I might be more forgiving. But if I want to see a
Right.
mummy movie, it's the original Hammer Horror, or give me the one that came out with Brendan Fraser. Those are the ones that I consider the three you should watch.
I do enjoy the Frasier ones,
Yeah, so
except for
funny.
the third one. I
Yeah,
couldn't
by
get it
that one, that's
because
a
they
money grab.
changed it so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Well, first off, they got
If
rid of his
Rachel
wife.
Weisz had been in it, I
Yeah,
probably would have enjoyed it, I think.
yeah.
But
I
anyway.
also feel like they kind of were doing a money grab trying to get the market in China because they
Oh, for
switched the
sure.
mummy to a Chinese mummy and they have all that
Hmm.
storyline going, which I totally get. I mean, it's a little different. You've already
Yeah.
done Egypt twice, but if you don't have all the same characters and you're replacing them, I just you're right. It is what it is. It's one
Yeah,
of those.
absolutely. Yeah, they easily could have brought more people back. But then again, as a storyteller such as yourself, myself, like I kind of understand where they're coming from, simply from the vantage point of you don't want to do the same thing. But with
Mhm.
certain properties, it's like, but that's like what made it really work. But so it's a double-edged sword because I understand why it would make sense for them to do that. But then I also, as a fan, that instinctual, like, no, don't don't change it. I
Well, the problem
you
is
know
there was too much change.
Yes, there
Keep the
was a lot.
characters, do a different storyline,
Yeah.
or keep the storyline, do different characters. That could have
Mm,
worked. They could have done something a
yeah,
little different that way too.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so now next question is zombies. Do you like fast or slow?
Oh, geez. If we were really subject to a zombie apocalypse, I would prefer slow. But for the sake of films, I like the fast ones, just because they pose much more of a threat. And so, yeah, I would say both. But for fantasy, slow. No,
Mhm.
for reality, slow. For fantasy, fast. Absolutely.
Do you have a favorite zombie movie?
Oh boy. Um. Well, hmm. I've seen like just about all of them. I would say it's a tie between the 1990 Night of the Living Dead or this. Hmm, I this is going to be kind of tricky because I don't know if these count as zombies, but 28 Days Later
Yeah,
is another great film that I loved. But they're not really zombies. There's kind of zombies. Like
they
they're
are
zombies.
zombies. You know what?
They're
In my mind, they're
viral
right,
zombies, I guess, right? But they're still
right.
alive. So it's like I can't tell. I guess,
Well,
yeah. So I would say 28 Days Later and that one.
I think what
Um,
we get with 28 Days Later is we get a time period where zombies weren't cool. and nobody was going to make a zombie movie. So they're like, oh, it's not a zombie movie. It's whatever, a
Right.
rage viral, like you said, and that's how they
Yeah.
did it. But it's a zombie movie, so yeah, I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah. That's how. Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah. I
opens
guess.
exactly like The Walking Dead. It's the exact same thing, except for he's not a cop. He's a hospital guy.
You're right. Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it is a
Jim's like
zombie
just
thing.
walking all over London and it's like empty and
Hmm.
dead, you know? Or maybe it's like in the reverse, right? The Walking Dead is like 28 days later because that came out way
Well,
before.
yeah, that came away. Yeah, that's what
Like
I meant. But I'm
that's
just saying it's the same thing. So it's
yeah,
just
for
how you
sure.
call
That's
the
a good point.
monsters.
That's a
And of
good,
course,
very good point.
if you say Walking Dead, they never actually say the word zombie. Their
That's right.
world doesn't have a thing for
They
zombies.
call
So,
them geeks and walkers, right?
right.
So that yeah.
So technically,
Yeah.
you could say they're not zombies either because they're not using that terminology. But we can say all of it's zombies if we want to.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's true. So I would say, yeah, those two movies.
But
I
yeah,
think
no,
the
the
first one,
28 days later, I think is amazing. And I really thought what they did in 28 months later, the sequel, I thought that was really cool too, just to kind of see where society was
did you
down the
know?
road.
Have you already heard about their film in
Yeah, the
28
third one.
years?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
excited.
super
I'm excited.
excited about that.
And so we'll see how that goes. But I do enjoy. You're right. In real life, you want a slow one because you think
Yeah.
that you could survive that. But the problem with the slow ones is that they never
Numbers, right?
stop. Right. The
Yeah.
numbers and they don't stop. So they're constantly coming after you and you
Yeah.
have to constantly move. So are you up for that? I think both of them are going to suck. So, I'll be one of the first ones gone if
That's
we
true. Yeah, both of them would. Either way, a horde
Yeah,
of
but I definitely
flesh-eating
don't need
mindless
I'm not
monsters.
cardio ready. So they
Yeah,
need to
me
be
neither.
slow.
Yeah, that at the very least, so that we can like get to a rooftop and then just barricade it off and have like a barbecue and just kind of wait for a helicopter to come pick us up.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. Do you play a lot of video games?
uh, I used to, not with work and the book and everything. I sometimes at night if I'm not quite sleepy, I will play currently Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh,
That's
cool.
what I'm on right now. I have this thing where all of my consoles, because so like I am a gamer, but I'm not a gamer. I have every console there is,
Hmm.
but I never use any of them except for the PS5 sometimes. And so I have a method, right? Like I will only install one game, and I have tons of games. So I am a gamer, just
Hmm.
not an active one. And I only put one game on the console, and then I finish it, and then I move on to the next one. Because otherwise, if I have a whole bunch installed, I can't focus on. I
Right.
don't
You
know
don't
what
you
to
don't play
play.
anything, right? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
with you
it's like
there.
I'll just play it later. It's exhausting choosing,
Since
but I
it's
do
come
love
out,
zombie
I was gonna
games.
say Days Gone. Have you played Days Gone?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh
so
yeah.
that's my favorite game to play lately. I've for the last couple of
Freakers,
years.
again,
Yes.
same thing.
Yeah,
Don't call
fast
them zombies.
zombies. So, but
And
yeah.
as I understand it, that game in these nowadays, like the fanfare is getting Sony to really reconsider possibly making a sequel, which I think is fantastic because to just end it unceremoniously without any
Mhm.
extra explanation as to what the hell's happening, especially at the end. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's not played it, but you know what I'm talking about. Like it's set up for another game, and it would have made a fantastic movie. I even think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great game. I
I
love
would
that
love
game.
to see it as a like an 8 episode miniseries on HBO or something. It
Right,
definitely I
especially because Sam Witwer looks just. They basically used his face for Deacon, right? So it's perfect.
Yeah.
That
But
guy,
like
he blows my mind. He's in so many video games.
yeah.
It's insane.
But yeah, that's the one I like to play, and I think it's because of the fact it's so much fun when you're driving on your motorcycle, and all of a sudden these things are coming after you, and then you have
Oh yeah,
the zombie dogs and the infected animals and all that stuff. So,
the
but
caves. The caves always threw me off, and I don't want to
yes, the
spoil
caves are
it.
fun. No, it's a
They're bad.
fun game, and it's so
Yeah.
cool. So about every once a year, I'll start from the beginning and just go through it. Is when I go long enough that I start to forget things so that it's
Yeah.
not, just a walkthrough. But, sometimes I could just get on that game and just drive around on the motorcycle, ride through the thing and avoid all the monsters. It's just kind of fun to do that part of it.
Just yeah.
Beautiful
It's
game.
like it's so beautifully detailed
Hmm.
to just go like like you said, just like take your bike and go off-roading into the forest is like just nice by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. I always used
But
to stay away from the little outposts though, because those always, got
Oh, I
you. Got
love the Outpost. Oh yeah, but
oh
that sniper when it gets you and there's no getting away from me. He's got you. He's shooting you off the bike immediately.
yeah.
Yeah, that and Alan Wake. I like to go back and forth between those two because Alan Wake's a fun game too.
I have not played that game in since it came out, the first
Oh
one. It's like the original, because I think didn't they remake it or something or
yeah,
do like
they
a
they
remaster?
they
Okay,
remastered it.
haven't tried that one. I've only done the one on the Xbox 360 like a billion years ago. I do not remember anything about that game other than the antagonists were like these bizarre, dark,
Yeah, like
shadowy
shadow
things.
creatures that were possessing
Yeah,
you.
that's all I remember.
Yeah, they remastered it and you can actually play it on the PlayStation. So it's kind of
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give
And then
that a shot.
they have a two sequel to it and it's on the PlayStation, but you can't buy it on disc. You have to download it. So, and I'm an old person that does not like not having a physical copy of whatever I purchased, so I have yet to play that, but I'm
I'm
sure
the
I'll
opposite.
break down.
I usually like because I used to collect physical media to the point where I had no room for anything else on shelves. And
Mhm.
so then after that, I just went straight to the digital and yeah, everything is purely digital now. And it kind of blows my mind because it was so gradual, the transition. I didn't even realize. I remember years ago, you read an article like, oh, in the future, there will be no physical media. You could download everything. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. And now I can't remember a time when I did touch a disc or some
Right.
kind,
No, I get that
except
too.
for the gun media guys. They were nice enough to give me a copy of Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the Xbox.
Oh, that's cool.
That
Very
was
cool.
very. Those guys are really interesting.
Yeah, I went over and talked to the table.
Yeah, yeah.
We were, as I said before, we were at Frightmare and we were on the row with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So a lot of the
Yeah.
technicians of the movie, the video game, everybody was there. It was very cool. If you guys go to our Facebook pages and maybe your Instagram, I'm sure there's pictures. I took a bunch of the Texas Chainsaw pictures and stuff. So it's very cool. You guys should check all that stuff out. It was a fun time at Frightmare.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so then the next question we jump into favorite creature or cryptid.
Hmm. Favorite creature. Uh, so is this a trick question? It can't be one that we created, is it? Or like, are we talking about like
No,
the
if you
step?
want to, yeah. I mean, technically, I think we're leaning cryptid, but if you have a creature that you created that you liked, and go with that.
So far, I would say my favorite creature is the one I'm writing, and that's
Hmm.
not meant to be a shameless plug. Like it's just because I'm in it right now, so I'm immersed in it. It's basically a ferrofluid based, almost like nanotechnologically driven blob creature that like kind of like attaches to organisms and assimilates them and turns them into like these like dry like he consumes them so that they almost look like zombies as they're being consumed and like kind of like moving around infecting other things and killing other things. We could talk about that part later, but
No, that sounds very cool.
established creatures, probably the Wendigo. After watching Antlers, I think that one is probably my favorite cryptid.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Wendigo. I mean, you have people like Candace Nola in her Bishop series that's got Wendigos in it. Mike Enenbach's got he has a splatter western and it focuses on the Wendigo, and so him and Candace actually have teamed up. And so after book one of Bishop, they've done more the books together, and they all have Wendigos in their kind of thing, and they discuss all that. I think they do a really
Cool.
good job with the Wendigos. I think Marvel Comics did a really good job with the Wendigo. He
I
runs
I didn't even
through
know
the
they did.
Yeah, it
Like
runs through the
ooh, like
Hulk comics, and Hulk
oh
fights the Wendigo multiple times. Wolverine's gone up against him. I think they do a really fun.
oh
They
wow
revisit it. They had it in the '70s, and they revisited it in the '80s and again in the '90s. So they keep going back to it. So it's not as, of course, bloody as you would think because it is Marvel Comics, and in those times they were following the code, so they got away from some of the violence, but it's still a
gotcha.
fun idea of these creatures existing. And it was probably the first time I actually saw the Wendigo was in a Marvel comic. But yeah, I think they're a very fun cryptid,
Oh,
and
okay.
I think they're gaining in popularity because I've heard that more and more over the last couple of years. When
Yeah.
I'd say 10
I,
years ago,
I've never
people,
even I had never heard of them
oh
before.
really? Yeah, no, they're
Ever.
very
Yeah.
popular.
I
Uh,
oh no, no, I'm sorry. I first heard of them in a video game, Until Dawn. There was Wendigos in that,
Oh
and
yeah, 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 yeah.
I didn't
Another
know
great
what in
horror
the
game.
hell that was. And then I saw that and I thought, whoa, that's really cool. But then I saw antlers and that really, like, I was like, huh, that's a cool creature. That's very fascinating.
I may be
That
stepping out
was,
of bounds here, but I think Ravenous, that came out in the 90s, I think it is also slightly hinting towards the Wendigo, because the Wendigo is an Indian legend
you're right,
where
like a folklore thing. Yeah.
humans eat humans, they become the Wendigo who can never consume enough, and they're always starving for real food, but they consume only humans after that point.
Right.
And so Ravenous is kind of that same vein. It's a very dark horror comedy that came out in the 90s that has Guy Pearce and oh man, I knew it. The guy that played Rumpelstiltskin in the TV show Happily Ever After, I think, or the one that
Oh,
was all fairy tales and stuff. He's the
I
main guy. He
don't
was
know.
also one of the strippers in that's British movie where they were all coal miners and they needed to raise money, so they put out the
Oh, the Full Monty, is that the
I
one?
think the Full Monty. Yeah, he's one of
I
the.
think, yeah.
I
I'm
know
gonna have to
somebody's
look that up because
screaming
I
at
don't.
the screen telling me the guy's name. He's a very famous actor. He's a great actor. He was in Stargate Universe, the last series they did before it went out. He played one of the scientists. So
I'm gonna have to Google this because I don't know. I've
takes
never even
place
seen
in
Ravenous.
oh yeah, it takes place in the 1800s, right after the Civil War. It's about a guy who was a hero in the Civil War, but he's just messed up from it. So he requests to be put in this outpost way in the West. And then it also kind of combines the Donner Party stuff too. So you've
Oh,
got this
okay.
weird,
Well, with everything they had to do, I guess it
yeah.
would make sense
So
that a
it's it
Wendigo would be at home there.
right. And so I think, and I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's what they're hinting at, that it's the spirit of a Wendigo kind of taking over these people and causing this issue. But, that's a movie that people should watch. I probably should revisit it so I don't sound like a complete idiot when I'm talking about
I'm
it.
gonna watch it now because I well, that sounds pretty cool.
And let's see what else we got. Okay, cool. So now we're at to the point where we're going to start talking about your project. So, did you
Oh,
want to? What do you want to go first? You're writing something right now with the creature you're just talking about. Do we want to talk about the
yeah.
book, or do you want to talk about the statues?
Whatever you want to bring up first, brother.
Well, let's do the book first.
Okay. Let's see. What would you like to know? You got to remember, I'm really bad at these things. So
Did
like,
you send me
just
the? Is it the noodle? Is that the picture?
Noodle. Yeah, yeah. That's the newest book.
All right. Let me
Um.
share. Let me share that artwork, and then we could talk
Yeah.
about it.
The promo.
Yeah.
Yeah. The So basically, this is, how do I put this? I'm kind of, as far as my writing goes, it's uh it's really interesting, right? So the first book, I kind of channeled my inner, how do you say, my inner workaholicness of, like, say, Stephen King, right? So
Hmm.
I would sit down and I wouldn't leave my desk until I wrote 2,000 pages or 2,000 words a day, and bang out the first draft and you get it done and it's all edited and nice and good to go and everything. And with this one, I'm writing with the speed of George R. R. Martin. It's really sad, but I'm taking forever. But it's not for lack of uh passion. It's just between juggling the statues and the book, it's very difficult, but we're getting it done. Hopefully it'll be done by certainly by the show. And what it is essentially, it is in the same universe as my first book, but it's a sequel
Hmm.
to the sequel to the first book, if that makes sense. And the reason I did it like that is because everyone who has read the first one and enjoyed it, they come up to me or they'll email me and they'll be like, "When is the next book coming out? When is the next book coming out?" And it's like, you're gonna get a book, but be careful what you wish for, because it's not it's not the book that you're hoping it's going
Right.
to be. It's the follow up to that book, and then we're going to write that book. But there's a reason, and it's mostly because when you read this one, there will be preconceived notions that you'll have going into that sequel book, and you're going to be like completely surprised by what happens, because you think but you don't know, because it's a lot of lot of work. You know how that goes,
Mhm.
weaving stories and narratives and everything. It's very exciting though. And uh aside from that, I don't know what else to say. So like, do I describe it, or do you want me to,
No, I think you did a great job talking about it.
okay, perfect, all right, awesome.
Yeah, and so the first book that's out we discussed last year, you have to remind me the title.
The Leaving.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then so this one is kind of the way if I'm thinking, you said a sequel to the sequel that isn't there.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so the second one is going to be out about one book down the line after this, because after Noodle, I already have the basic spine of the manuscript for Texoma done, and that's a book about a bull shark that's let loose in the Lake Texoma. So it's kind of like Jaws in a
Sure.
lake.
Yeah, no, it
So
sounds fun. Those are always fun. I like
um,
those kind of books. So
yeah, I'm really excited about that one. I got the idea when I was actually fishing with my in-laws, and I was looking at the lake, and it's just massive. And
mhm.
it just hit me. I was like, huh, what would it be like if there was like a, like a 14-foot bull shark in this lake and nobody knew about it? Like, that could be real fun, so it's gonna be fun, I think. But as far as Noodle goes, it's very different from the first book in that it's more claustrophobic. um I typically have, like, I don't know what it is about, I throw everything into in the what's that expression? Everything but the kitchen sink.
Yeah,
So it has a lot of other different elements, but this one, as far as the DNA of it, it's very much more. Um, if the leave-in was aliens, then this one would be alien. It's more confined.
sure.
So it it has a different feeling, but still the same, if that makes
Listening,
sense.
yeah, listening to you, I kind of picture a triangle where you have your first book and it's going to the book that you got planned for later, but also
Mm-hmm.
over here it's going to Noodle, and then that one will
Mm-hmm.
go to that book. So it kind of feels like they're circular in a way where you kind of got
So yeah,
you're gonna have three
sort of.
books and you can kind of read this one whenever you want to, and these other two are one and two.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So really it's
So,
not a
and
sequel as much as it is a companion.
yeah, it's in this, like I was saying, it's basically in the same universe.
Right.
So
Yeah.
this book, so Noodle, when finished, is gonna most likely, in based on the direction it's going, is going to have its own sequel. So it's like, a tree just,
Sure.
and then
It's like
branches going up.
Dragonlance Heroes, and then we got Dragonlance, one of the other one, Tales. And so
Uh,
they're all in the world that you're writing, but
yeah.
they're their own thing, but also they interact because they
Well,
are
yeah.
from the
So
same.
I can't give away too much about Noodle, other
Mhm.
than to say that it ties into the main story a lot more than your average companion.
Sure, sure.
But
But
I can't say much more about it because I'll spoil a lot.
right, you don't want
Um,
to do that. So
no, no, and I would too if given the opportunity. I don't know. But yeah, so there are three stories in the main series, and then this one is gonna be a sequel to the second one, and then that's gonna have its own stories. And we have all that stuff lined up, and then we have a few other books that are in the pipeline that should be ready by 2025. One of them is a succubus story, and the other one is a zombie book, but it's in reverse. It's called Night of the Living, and that one I've been sitting on for a long time. It's about uh, basically a society of the undead, who one of them discovers like an elixir to kind of like keep themselves from rotting. The problem is it works a little too well. And so not only do they stop rotting, he becomes a full-fledged human. And so it deals mostly with the themes of, choice and freedom,
mhm,
like, just because someone thinks that, this is for your own good doesn't mean that it is. So this zombie is now a person, and he's basically going around converting all the zombies into people, and they don't want that. So
right.
it's an interesting idea.
That's a good
But
twist to the story.
I've never
Something
seen it
unique.
before, so
Yeah.
I figured time to write it.
All right. So the first time we did this interview, I had to split it into two recordings, and when I hit the second recording, somehow it got corrupted. So we missed out on our chat about his figures, the statues that he puts together. Um, they're really cool, and I wanted you guys to see a little bit of it, so you could know what you're looking for. You know, make plans if you're at a show he's at to go check out his booth. Um, go to his website. He's going to be on Walmart.com soon if he's not already there with some of these characters. He's got really cool takes on existing characters. He did a really fun Stitch line with different monster versions of Stitch. He's done straight up just movie stuff. His aliens is amazing, you know, and I put the queen on here so you guys can see it. I've seen this one in person. It's really cool. The detail that he goes and puts into all these, you can tell labor of love, and you're getting a cool collectible from a guy who gets what makes a collectible cool. If that, you know, so he's got a lot of lines that he's done that are based on things like his necronomes, and you can see in the other corner, you know, universal monsters and those kind of creatures. He's about to do one that's based on Wizard of Oz, and I've seen artwork for the first character of that, and it's really cool. You're going to want to go to his Facebook page and join. They do a lot of fun giveaways and opportunities for you to get some of the figures at a discounted price. But also, you'll get in on some of the limited edition stuff, and you'll know when he's getting rid of things like, you know, maybe he's decided that he's no longer going to make X character. So he's going to let you know, I only have a few of these left. When they're gone, they're gone. And he's got a lot of things. If there's a specific horror icon that you're into, he probably has it, or he has plans on making it, and they're they never disappoint. They're always very cool. So I just wanted everybody to get an opportunity to see the other thing that he does. And, you know, on top of writing, he does spend a lot of time doing this, and you'll see if you come swing by his table at Texas AuthorCon, you're going to see some really cool things, and then you can see the process he goes through. Um, these aren't 3D printed. I know sometimes that comes up. People, you know, think that maybe that's what he's doing. No, he's actually, you know, designing these and carving them and making them and painting them. So it's a big process. It's a full thing, and you definitely see it when you look at him in person. Uh, Labor of love, and it's a really cool thing. He's very energetic about it, and it's fun to get that aspect of, you know, the two things he does. Talk to him about his writing, but also talk to him about these amazing characters that he puts together. And I'm going to put this up on Wednesday, and AuthorCon's going to be 2 days after that. So it'll be really cool. You guys will get a chance to check this out. And then when you come to the event on Friday or Saturday, you'll be able to see, you know, at his table, some of the cool things he's got going on. I just want to say thanks to everybody who participated in and has watched all our interviews that we've done with some of the authors of AuthorCon. Of course, we didn't get to tag everybody. We weren't able to do interviews with everybody. There are so many cool people coming, and just schedules didn't always line up properly. So if you didn't get a chance to watch them all, even if you do come to the event, go back and watch some of them. That way you'll get an idea of personalities, and you can see some future projects that are coming up, things of that nature. So, and then continue watching, of course, because we're gonna expand this author interview series. I think maybe do one or two a month to go on top of us doing movies and reading books. Next book up is going to be Jaws. We're going to do a episode where we compare the book with the movie. After that, we're going to do Psycho, and then I think we're going to do a layman triple pack. And then when we get closer to that, we'll release the books that we're going to talk about, so that everybody gets a chance to catch up or reread if they want to. And if you guys ever have any questions or suggestions on stuff that you want us to read or watch, you know, find us on What's in the Box Facebook page, or you can DM Donna or I individually on our Facebook pages, or leave a message at any of our episodes, and we will take those suggestions under advisement and see how we can work them into the schedule. So hopefully I'll see you guys if you're in the Texas area at Texas AuthorCon. Donna's flying in Thursday, so she'll be there this weekend too. So it'll be fun. You guys can swing by and say hi to both of us, and any of the other amazing authors and artists that are going to be at this event. It's going to be in Richardson at the Hilton, and I'll have all that information below like we normally do. And if you don't have a ticket yet, don't forget to go to Eventbrite, sign up. It's a free event, but that ticket will get you an opportunity to possibly win a prize. So thanks again for watching, and hopefully we'll see you this weekend, and take it easy.